Today, we've got some VTuber drama and Nintendo drama all mixed together into one. That's right, we're talking about how Nintendo went after HoloLive solely because one of the HoloLive talent apparently played a Nintendo game that had been modified, but still on an original cartridge. So yeah, Nintendo's overreacting to something stupid again. But let's talk about what actually happened. You see, this VTuber here, who's a Japanese VTuber named Pekora, was doing a series of streams where she goes through Pokemon Emerald and tries to find the shiny Mew. She says that Pokemon Emerald is the only Pokemon game where you can catch a shiny Mew and that she desperately wants one, which there's nothing wrong with that, right? So she goes through and she plays Pokemon Emerald on stream. In fact, she goes around and gets a whole lot of Pokemon Emerald cartridges. If you don't know what I mean by cartridges, they're the original physical game media that you plugged into your Game Boy to play a game. She's not emulating it at all. She literally just went out and bought a whole bunch of Pokemon Emerald cartridges to try to find one that had the right map on it, which I believe is the old C map you need to go and find a Mew in the game, because a bunch of the legendaries back then were locked behind in-person events that you had to go bring your cartridge to and plug your cartridge into something in order to get a mystery gift or unlock a special Pokemon. So what happened exactly? Well, Nintendo decided to go after her because it turns out that possibly one of the cartridges that Pekora was using on her streams might have been hacked at some point in the past. They're not saying that she did it. They're not saying that she was emulating the game. They're saying that it was bad because somebody in the past hacked the Pokemon Emerald cartridge, which is a ridiculous thing for them to be upset about. You see, Dexerto here, in this article by Michael William, said that Pekora had bought many used Emerald cartridges off of an auction site to find one containing the old C-map, an item only available at a Japanese Pokemon convention back in 2005, and necessary in order to encounter Mew. Some players have gotten around this by hacking their cartridges, and during Pekora's stream, she appeared to be using one of those hacked cartridges. Needless to say, Nintendo wasn't happy. Now, I just need to point out, when they say this and call it a hacked cartridge, they're being a little ridiculous. Basically, back in the day, you had a Game Shark, and you plugged your Game Shark into your Game Boy, you plugged the game into your Game Shark, and it just had preloaded codes. And I distinctly know for a fact that most people who played Nintendo games back then would have played around with a Game Shark and hacked in something like this, or, you know, a million rare candies, or something else to help break the game, because once you played the Pokemon game all the way through, sometimes you wanted to go out and, you know, wanted to find all shiny Pokemon, or wanted to get all your Pokemon to level 100, and it was a pain to do that normally, so people would just get the Game Shark and basically hack it in. But it wasn't really hacking, it was just kind of a pre-made thing. But it wasn't really hacking. I mean, 5-year-olds were doing it, so you know, it's not really that complicated to do. Especially where the old C-map, which she was looking for, was locked behind an in-person event in 2005. I would guarantee you a lot of people used a Game Shark to do that back in the day. And funnily enough, when you used a Game Shark enough, it would like corrupt your game and it would stop working. They were actually terrible. So anyway, when they say that it's hacked, it's really not that complicated, and it's not like she was doing anything that's like super illegal. But apparently it might be. Maybe it is in Japan. Maybe in Japan they have a big thing against the Game Shark. But back in the day, all I know is that they were literally everywhere. And so HoloLive had to issue a statement revealing that they had received a notice from Nintendo and they had to delist Pekora's broadcast. In addition, they asked that the stream was taken down, and Nintendo warned the agency to avoid the implementation of video projects that are at risk of violating the guidelines. So basically, Nintendo said you gotta tell all your people not to go around and not to play games that may have been hacked at some point in the past, whether they know it or not, because I guarantee you she didn't know it. She bought a bunch of used games. It's crazy to me that Nintendo cares if somebody's playing an actual physical cartridge that was hacked at some point 20 years ago, because it's not like she's emulating. She actually put the time and money in to go and get the official actual game, which, spoiler alert, most streamers don't do. Most Pokemon streamers, though they'll tell you they're not, they're emulating the game. And there's a reason for that, and it's because Pokemon Emerald came out in the year 2004. I'd be willing to bet that there are people watching this right now who weren't even alive in 2004. That's 21 years ago. There are people born in the same year as Pokemon Emerald came out that can drink legally now in the United States, and they're still upset that people are playing versions of this game that might have been hacked. That is crazy. And Nintendo does not get enough heat for how anti-consumer, how just anti-community they are. They treat their community like trash, constantly going after them for the craziest things. And it's crazy to me that nobody ever pushes back on them. I mean, HoloLive immediately apologized and privated the video. In addition to the privatization of the video, we will strive to improve measures such as the development of the planning implementation flow, enlightenment and guidance to the affiliated talent. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause to our fans and related parties. Now, I don't even know how they could possibly do anything to stop this. I mean, if she went out and bought used cartridges, she has no idea if somebody's hacked on them before. It's not like it changes anything. I don't know. This just seems like such an overreaction. What she did was, I mean, maybe it's a legal problem in Japan, but I just cannot understand why Nintendo would care at all. This just really bothered me, and Nintendo's been really getting on my nerves recently with how anti-consumer they are. So what do you guys think? Am I wrong? Am I right? Let me know in the comments. Do you think this was ridiculous? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. Remember to like and subscribe. Have a great day, and God bless you.